Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Text ends. Okay.
जी
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Thaulyam Karsham Vradhaya Adhayascha.
Stolyam Karsham Vyadhaya Adhyasya Cha.
Tud Bhayam Kalir Ichha Jaracha.
Shudda Ayam Kale Ichha Jaracha.
Nidra Ratir Manyuraham Madah Shucho.
Nidra Ratir Manyor Aham Madhascho.
Ahamada Shucho
Dehena Jatasya Himena Santi.
Dehena Chatasya Hinena Santi.
Yes. So, would like to read?
May I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai. Translation. Fatness, thinness, bodily and mental distress, thirst, hunger, fear, disagreement, desires for material happiness, old age, sleep, attachment for material possessions, anger, lamentation, illusion and identification of the body with the self are all transformations of the material covering of the spirit soul. A person absorbed in the material bodily conception is affected by these things, but I am free for all bodily conceptions. Consequently, I am neither fat nor skinny nor anything else you have mentioned. Purport. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Deha smriti nahi yara, samsara bandhan kaha tara. One who is spiritually advanced has no connection with the body or with the bodily actions and reactions. When one comes to understand that he is not the body and therefore is neither fat nor skinny, one attains the topmost form of the spiritual realization. When one is not spiritually realized, the bodily conception entangles one in the material world. At the present moment, all human society is laboring under the bodily conception. Therefore, in the Shastras, people in this age are referred to as Dvipada Pashu, two-legged animal. No one can be happy in the civilization conducted by such animals. Our Krishna conscious movement tries to raise fallen human society to the status of spiritual understanding. It is not possible for everyone to become immediately self-realized like Jadabharat. However, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.18, Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavad sevaya. By spreading the Bhagavata principles, we can raise human society to the platform of perfection. When one is not affected by bodily conceptions, one can advance to the Lord's devotional service. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama-shloke bhaktir bhakti nashtiki. The more we advance our freedom from the bodily conception, the more we are fixed in the devotional service and the more we are happy and peaceful. In this regard, Srila Madhvacharya says that those who are too materially affected continue the bodily conception. Such persons are concerned with different bodily symptoms, whereas one freed from bodily conception lives without the body, even in the material condition. Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. See. Deha smriti nahi yar, sansara bandhana kaha tar. So, one who has no conception of body, for him no sansara exists. For example, if you think I am Indian, then everything India will affect you. Everything that is related to India will be affecting you. If India has some, like if India is humiliated in United Nations or if there's a cricket match, you will become affected by all of it. And this is the case all over the world. Everyone is under the same misconception. I am Indian, I am American, I am white, I am black, I am African, I am a European. All this, Deha Atma Buddhi, that I am this body. So as soon as we are attached to this, immediately all sorts of misconceptions will arise. Ato graha kshetra sutapta vittair janasya mohahyam aham mamiti. So all this kind of illusions, graha kshetra sutapta vittair. So actually, if you see, it's very easy to realize that we are right now bound by so many misconceptions, that we are completely tied up, that we have no freedom at all from this bodily conception. Right now, like if we are worried about our investments, our house, our family members, that is Dehatma Buddhi. I mean, we're not like some fallen demons or anything, but we are not very elevated souls either. We are in this misconception. That's how you practically see the instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam. In electronics, we have this negative feedback mechanism. So there's a signal and there's an error. So if the signal is passing through some system and there is some error, this error is immediately fed back into the system. And system will try to subtract this error from itself. In this way, the system will keep on correcting itself. So this is your reference here. If you ask me, if I ask you how to go from Bombay to Delhi, you'll tell me that, proceed northwards and then turn slightly eastwards. So I know that north and east is what I have to follow. Not too much east, but mainly like northeast. So that remains my reference until I reach Delhi. So suppose I by mistake overshoot Delhi, then immediately this reference will become south instead of north. So I know that I have gone more, I have to correct myself. So in this way, the verses of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam are our references. Here we understand, what corrective actions we are supposed to take, how we are supposed to correct our consciousness. So if we think that, am I looking good today? Do I need to shave when I go to office? Are my clothes looking good today? Is my color combination okay? We should understand that immediately we are in bodily consciousness. And that is our problem. Our problem is not that we are growing old or our family members are dying or that our wealth is not sufficient. Our problem is that we are considering this body to be ourselves. So here we see, this is a very nice example. Maharaj Rahugana has insulted Jada Bharat. He has used abusive language. He has used, unjustified words to criticize him. So Jada Bharat is not at all annoyed by all of that. And that is the explanation Jada Bharat is giving, that whatever you are describing is certainly applicable to the body. But since I do not consider myself to be this body, this is not applicable to me. If you are traveling on the highway and someone says, hey, hey, auto rickshaw, why are you so slow? You won't feel angry because you are not slow. The auto rickshaw is slow. It's not your problem. So likewise, when someone says, hey, you are too thin, too dark, too fat, too tall, all that is just the body. And the body will change. One body after another. So we'll end up taking another body. So all the human society is actually bound by this. The so-called family, society, nation. What is all this? Uttar Bharatiya Samaj, Dakshina Bharatiya Samaj, Kairali Kala Mandal. What are all these things? These are just bodily misconceptions. Mera Bharat Mahan. This is nonsense. Mera Bharat Mahan, because I think I am an Indian. It's my India. Therefore, it is great. So that is all manifestation of false ego. So this is our problem. How do we get out of it? So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining very simply. Nashta prayeshva bhadrishu nityam bhagavat sevaya. Nityam bhagavat sevaya. So serving the scripture Bhagavat and serving the person Bhagavat. Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Shri Guru Hai. So one who knows Krishna, one who is giving you Krishna, he is the person Bhagavat. You have to just render service. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So you render service and make submissive inquiries, make relevant inquiries. So that's the way. So you render service and make inquiries to person Bhagavat, and you study the Bhagavat. So someone like Srila Prabhupada will always recommend that you study Srimad Bhagavatam. So when you're coming to us, we are also recommending the same thing. Study the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Don't confuse yourself by studying too many scriptures. Don't confuse yourself by hearing too many people. Hear Srila Prabhupada, read the books. And once you have become solidly established in this philosophy, then you can read anything you feel like. Because you will have the correct perspective of understanding the subject matter. But before that, you have to really digest Srila Prabhupada's books. You have to really, make them inherent. You have to really absorb them. So this is the way to get out of material misconception. So of course, what will the person Bhagavad tell you? To study the book Bhagavad and to chant the holy names. Actually, if you are not chanting, none of this will work. This will just remain on the theoretical platform. To make it practical, we have to start chanting. So what we are studying here, now for example, now you have studied here, that Prabhupada is explaining that one who is spiritually advanced has no connection with the body or with the bodily actions and reactions. When one comes to understand that he is not the body and is therefore neither fat nor skinny, one attains the topmost form of spiritual realization. So now you know this. So the next question immediately is, how do I attain that stage? So the answer is you chant. So Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya, study the books and chant. So this is Bhagavad. Now you know what you understood. Now how do you practically realize it? You chant the holy names and you pray to the Supreme Lord. Now you have a prayer here that, oh my dear Lord, oh, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, oh Nanda Suta, please release me from this bondage. Ai Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Budhav, Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja, Sthita Dhuli Sadrasham Vichintaya. This is my problem. I am in this body. This is my problem. The problems of society, nation, economy, politics, they are secondary. They are not really even problems. They are just the happenings of this material nature. But because I am in bodily misconception, I am experiencing all those as problems. So let me give you one very simple example. Now the rainy season is on. So they have these announcements when the tide is highest. There's a warning that don't go to the sea. The tide is very high. On such a day, please take a trip down to the Gateway of India. And Gateway of India has many of these small boats tied there. And just have a look. You'll see frightening waves, 5 meter, 6 meter tall waves banging into the rocks. And those waves are so frightening that you don't feel like going near them. And you just see the boats are experiencing terrible turmoil. Up and down, they're crashing against the waves, they're going up, they're going down. But you are not affected because you are not in the water. You are standing on the land. So you can see the ferocity of the waves, but you are not affected by that. But if you are in one of those boats, then you are immediately in some kind of discomfort. So please try to understand that way. So as soon as you are in the body, then everything starts affecting you. The sea is very violent, but it is affecting you only when you are on the boat, which is floating on the sea. But if you are on land, it doesn't affect you. So all the happenings of this material world are creating turmoil with the body and the mind. If you identify with the body and the mind, then you will also face that turmoil. But if you don't identify with that body and with the mind, you will not face this discomfort. So here we see Maharaj Rahugana is facing inconvenience, but Jada Bharat is not at all disturbed. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments?
Prabhuji, just one comment. When, I understand what process we need to follow. What are the steps we need to do with Prabhupadaji's mercy? But it seems a very tough goal to attain. Aisa lagta hai, will we ever be able to reach there? Like considering how much engrossed we are.
See, you have reached thus far. Look at yourself within the last 2 years. How has it been? Did you think this was ever possible? Like if you wouldn't have met devotees or read Srila Prabhupada or chanted, do you think you would have been able to do all of this?
No, not at all, Prabhuji. Not at all.
Right now, so you had like 1 million problems. Now out of those 1 million, maybe 1,000 are gone. Okay, so some 9.5 million odd are still remaining there, but at least these thousands are gone. So it's like, so devotional service is like carving a stone. When you're carving a DT, you don't just take a hammer and bang away at the stone. You make tiny cuts. Slowly, you carve. That's why the term carve is used. We chip the stone slowly, according to the photograph, according to the image that we have on the stone. We carve it very slowly, chip by chip, and then the shape comes out. So bhakti is also like that. There's no...
The feeling comes that, Krishna, we are not able to give as much he's giving to us. This feeling comes again and again that he's doing a lot for us, but we don't do anything for him. Like considering how much we are engrossed.
See, that's why, we discussed this verse. Ayi Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram, Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Budhao. I am your servant, my Lord. I have somehow or the other, I have fallen into this ocean. Prabhupada gives this analogy actually. Srila Prabhupada explains for this verse that, who can save himself from the ocean? If you fall in a well or a pond or a river, you may swim across. But what do you do when you are in the ocean? Then only some competent, only some competent personality can come and save you, who's safe himself. So only Krishna can save us. Only Guru can save us. So you see, so that's why we have to pray. So actually, when you realize how fallen you are, that's the beginning of, that's the real beginning of bhakti. Then we can pray helplessly. If we think we are advancing, if we think we are advanced or we are advancing very nicely, then our prayer will not be of desperation. We'll think, okay, I'm doing well enough. Why do I need any help? So
thank you so much.
Yeah, so that's the prayer, that's then, that's the feeling of humility that I'm so fallen.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
In Prabhupada books should be textbooks, and
Yes.
we should not venture to read others. But I've seen there were some of devotees. They read a lot of different books, etc. They come up with a lot of thoughts which they start discussing in the public discussions, etc. But basically, you are rightly saying it is all Prabhupada books, and we should treat them as textbook. Let's finish it first, understand top properly, and then you say, if you want to read something else, then you can do it. Because then you will understand what is wrong and right. Because I was reading the Mayavad and the Shankaracharya. If we go to those things, we are totally lost.
Yes.
Absolutely, because they're totally confused. Rather, it is written by Prabhupada. It was Shankaracharya seems to be confused and misguiding. The fact is that we are misguided when we read him properly. But anyway, they say he is the incarnation of Shiva. So it's okay. We take in that way. He was doing on behalf of the God, Krishna.
So, Prabhu, the point is this, we have to be very objective. We have to understand why we are doing anything. We're not preaching because we are good orators or we are good in language or that we want to be famous. We're not preaching because we are, we know books. We're not reading because we want to preach. We're not reading because we want to tell others how intelligent we are. We are reading, we are preaching because we want to chant nicely. We just want to become liberated from material nature. Along the way, if we meet someone, then we can share our knowledge, and that's preaching. Or rather, as Srila Prabhupada would put it, along the way we share our realization, and that's called preaching. It's, yes, Jare Dekha, Tare Kaha, Krishna Upadesh, that's our duty. But that doesn't mean that we are designed to preach all the time. Our sadhana is the most important thing. Without sadhana, preaching has no meaning. And preaching means only what we have realized, or we repeat the words of the Acharya. So preaching itself is not a sport that we enjoy in the sense that, we are doing it for some reputation or doing it as a formality or any other purpose. The only purpose of preaching is that we have realized something, we're sharing it, or we are sharing Srila Prabhupada's realization. We are doing it as a service, and we are doing it to become free from the modes of passion and ignorance.
Okay.
That's the only objective.
I agree to the extent that preaching will be, to my mind, we read what Prabhupada has written and Acharya has written, and understand that. But what we are doing, we are trying to understand beyond that. As you have been saying, because I have not met many old devotees, if they started criticizing Prabhupada, Pastor, you read my book scrutinizingly. It doesn't mean you overrule him. You
Yes.
know, I have scrutinized your thing and I do not agree with you. Scrutiny means understandingly. Not to go above these past writings. But that's what I've seen. I've seen people even discussing in various forum that they quote Prabhupada and everything and then make another interpretation of it. So they are confused, they confuse others also. And somehow they have the idea that they've read a lot and they've understood everything. There's nothing more to understand. Anyway,
Yeah,
they,
so
they,
that's the
they,
point. You know, everything we do is to advance our spiritual understanding. So when we read too many books, what are we really going to attain? Just we'll get more confused. Like if you study the Upanishads, according to Upanishads, Om is the supreme. So then we read in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, amongst the letters, I am Pranava Omkar.
yeah.
Then we become confused. Oh, that means chanting Om is good. We stop Hare Krishna, we start chanting Om.
You rightly said before I met you, I came with in this forum, I read Upanishads. I read about 18 Upanishads with me. I read it. And then I realized that each Upanishad is trying to advocate his own deity.
Yes.
That is the those are Shivas. They'll say Shiva is the creator, Brahma say Brahma, then Vishnu. Then I said, what is this? After reading that, so luckily I had some Vaishnavas, senior Vaishnavas. They explained me, but we don't get disturbed because each one is written in Upanishad according to his thing. And they have tried to highlight their God. That is, okay, then we understand that one. Because every then when Shiva says ki Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, and Brahmaji also says thing. So I say the same. Both you say these are two top gods. That is what they are saying. So I think why should we question that at all?
And the thing is, Prabhu, even if we study the correct scriptures, we still do not understand how to pray. Okay, I may understand Krishna is the supreme, but what should be my prayer? What am I supposed to pray to him? That we'll understand only when we study Prabhupada.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, so
11.
text 11 now. Jivan mritatvam niyamen rajan.
Jivan mritatyam
Jivan mritatvam
rajan.
niyamena rajan.
Adyantavat yad vikritasya drishtam.
Adyavat
Adyantavat yat
Divakrita drishtam.
Swaswamya bhavo dhruva idya yatra.
Swaswamya bhavo dhruva
idya yatra.
Tarya uchyate sau vidhikritya yoga.
uchyate sau vidhikritya yoga.
Married to?
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam. Translation by Sri Prabhupada. Translation. My dear king, you have unnecessarily accused me of being dead to alive. In this regard, I can only say that this is the case everywhere because everything material has its beginning and end. As far as you're thinking that you are the king and master and are thus trying to order me, this is also incorrect because these positions are temporary. Today you are the king and I am your servant. But tomorrow the position may be changed and you may be my servant and I your master. These are temporary circumstances created by the providence. Purport? Yes, sir. The bodily conception is the basic principle of suffering in material existence. In Kali Yuga, especially people who are so uneducated, that they cannot even understand that the body is changing at every moment and that the ultimate change is called death. In this life, one may be a king, and in next life one may be a dog. According to karma, the spirit soul is a deep slumber caused by the force of material nature. He is put in one type of condition and again changed into another type. Without self-realization and knowledge, conditional life continue and one falsely claims himself a king and a servant, a cat or dog. These are simply different transformations brought about by the supreme arrangements. One should not be misled by such temporary bodily conceptions. Actually, no one is master within the material world, for everyone is under the control of material nature, which is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna is the ultimate master. As explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ekle Ishvara Krishna or Sabhat. The only master in Krishna is Krishna, and everybody, one else is his servant. Forgetfulness of our relationship with the Supreme Lord brings about our sufferings in the material world. Thank you for visiting Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains, material nature. Sometimes she'll take you up to the heavenly planets and sometimes she'll drag you down to hell. Just like the king punishes a criminal by sometimes taking him out of water and sometimes dunking him in the water. So karma is always like this. Material world is like an ocean. The waves are coming and going. And in all conditions, the living entity is sometimes pious, sometimes sinful. And as a result of that, one is sometimes taking a higher position like a demigod, or sometimes one is falling down to animal life. In this way, the living soul is continuously moving up and down without becoming aware of its real identity, of his real identity as the spirit soul. In this material world, actually, Ishvara, Ekala Purusha Krishna Arasavabhratya. Only Lord, only Ishvara is Krishna. He's the only Purusha. Purusha means enjoyer. Krishna is the only Purusha. Everyone else is Bhratya. Everyone else is the wife of Krishna, all the living entity. So when the living entity thinks that he has become Purusha, or when he tries to become the Purusha, then he is forced to suffer in different bodies. Sometimes he takes the body of a male, sometimes a female, sometimes animal, sometimes demigod. In all circumstances, he's always a Godas. He's a servant of his senses. But he always thinks that he's the master. Actually, no one is free from the influence of material nature. I am a man, so I think I enjoy eating my spicy food. A pig enjoys eating stool. My happiness is, or the pig's happiness is equivalent to my happiness. There is no distinction. When Indra became a boar, when he became a pig, he was enjoying family life very well. Brahma had to take him back. He had to drag him out. So the point is that whether one is in the lowest conditions of life or whether one is in the highest positions of material nature, one is always going to feel satisfaction. But at the same time, one will always suffer the forces of nature. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik and Adhidevik kleshas. So these difficulties are always going to be there. Out of illusion only one thinks that he's actually enjoying. In reality, it's just troublesome. Like Srila Prabhupada explains in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Mahaprabhu gave up the illusion of household life at the young age of 24. So what does that really mean? Household life is an illusion. One thinks that one is happy here. Oh, I have a companion. I have someone to protect me. I have someone to enjoy with. But in reality, this is just an illusion because it's going to end. In the dream, sometimes we are a king, sometimes we are a demigod, sometimes we are flying. And all that is very enjoyable. But as soon as the dream breaks, as soon as we are awake, the dream is gone. Then we are no longer demigod, we are no longer flying. So just like that, we have come alone in this material world. In a temporary consciousness of a family man, we feel happiness. Oh, I am so powerful, I am so rich, I am so well, I have so many relatives, I am so well connected. But in reality, as soon as death comes, everything is taken away. So in this material world, everything is changing all the time. Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantar praptir dhiras tatra na muhyati. Now, that is very important. Krishna is saying dhiras tatra na muhyati. Those who are self-realized, they are not bewildered. It's a great cause of bewilderment. Mother is dead, father is dead, husband is dead, wife is dead, children have left. It becomes a great source of misery. This is bewilderment. In reality, we are floating alone in this material world. So to get rid of this illusion, we have to come to our real consciousness, Krishna consciousness. We have to understand that I am the servant of Krishna. Jivera Sharup Hoy Krishnera Nitya Das. We have to understand that I am the servant of Krishna. Or as Srila Prabhupada explains, it just takes one moment for you to become self-realized. One moment. Just surrender to Krishna completely. Krishna is saying, Sarva Dharmana Parityajya. So all these are dharmas, I am a man, I am an engineer, I am a husband, I am a father, I am a son. All these are just designations, dharmas. Because every position in this world has a dharma attached to it. If you are a father, you have the dharma of father. You have to protect your children. If you are a son, it's your dharma to protect your parents. If you are a man, it's your dharma to protect your wife, to protect your family. That becomes your dharma. But Krishna is saying, Sarva Dharmana Parityajya. Give up all these illusions. Just surrender unto me. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. All your difficulties are arising out of papa. All the difficulties in this world are papa, are impious acts. So Krishna will deliver us from all of those. Ma Shucha. Do not lament. Do not worry. Hare Krishna. Yes. Any questions or comments? We continue. Text 12. This one was, yes. Vishesha buddhir vivaram manakcha.
Vishesh Buddhir Vivaram Manakche.
Buddhir Vivaram Manakacha.
Pashyama yanna vyavaharato anyat.
Pasham Yandana Vyavaharto Nayam.
Ka ishwaras tatra kim ishitrayam.
Ishwarastatra Kimi
Tathapi rajan karavama kimte.
Tathapi
Rajan
Kinte. Shall I read, Prabhu?
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace from Prabhupada. Translation. My dear king, if you still think that you are the king, that I am your servant, you should order me, and I should follow your order. I can then say that this differentiation is temporary, and it expands only from usage or convention. I do not see any other cause. In that case, who is the master and who is the servant? Everyone is being forced by the laws of material nature. Therefore, no one is master and no one is servant. Nonetheless, if you think that you are the master, that I am the servant, I shall accept this. Please order me. What can I do for you? Purport. It is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Aham Mameti, one thinks I am this body, and in this body relationship, he is my master, he is my servant. She is my wife, and he is my son. All these conceptions are temporary due to the inevitable change of the body and the arrangement of material nature. We are gathered together like straws floating in the waves of an ocean, straws that are inevitably separated by the laws of the waves. In the material world, everyone is floating on the waves of the ocean of nescience, as described by Bhaktivinoda Thakura. Maya ravase yacha pese kacha habudubu by Jiva Krishna Dasa e Vishvasha Karlet tha ara dukha nai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakura states that all men and women are floating like straws on the waves of material nature. If they come to the understanding that they are eternal servants of Krishna, they'll put an end to this floating condition, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 3.37. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samudbhavaha. Due to the mode of passion, we desire many things, and according to our desire, our anxiety, and according to the order of the Supreme Lord, Material nature gives us a certain type of body. For some time, we play as master or servant, as actors play on the stage under somebody else's direction. While we are in the human form, we should put an end to the nonsensical stage performance. We should come to our original constitutional position, known as Krishna consciousness. At the present moment, the real master is material nature. Daivi esa gunamayi, mama maya duratyaya. Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Under the spell of material nature, we are becoming servants and masters. But if we agree to be controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His eternal servants, temporary condition ceases to exist. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mayar vashe yate bheshe kacha habudubu bhai. So, everyone, material waves are just pushing one up and down. So one, I am master, I am the servant. Srila Prabhupada explains that in this material world, actually everyone is the servant. Someone is serving somebody else and everyone is serving somebody else. And eventually, actually everyone is just serving Maya. Once Srila Prabhupada was in America and one of the disciples asked him, Prabhupada, do you believe in these secret societies, secret rulers of the world? Prabhupada said, in this world, the only master is Maya. Everyone else is a servant of Maya. So big people, the President of America, the Mughal Empire, the Mongol Empire, Napoleon Bonaparte, Hitler, Churchill, Nehru, Gandhi, all these have come and gone. And what have they achieved really? Everything is as it is. Nothing has changed. The land is the same, the air is the same, the water is the same. Nothing changed, but only the illusion that I am the master. Only that existed. They lived in so much difficulty. They created so much difficulty for others and eventually just died. So this is the nature of material world. The only purpose of material world is to realize the Supreme Lord. Actually, this material world is impossible to get over. So we have to surrender to Krishna. Mama eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Those who surrender to me, I deliver them. So we have to surrender to Krishna with love and devotion. That means by chanting Hare Krishna very peacefully, very prayerfully. So like we were discussing, we are gathered together like straws floating in the waves of an ocean. Straws that are inevitably separated by the laws of the waves. So the so-called family, society, nation, they'll just be finished. They'll be finished in an instant. So death will come and take away everything. So we have to really understand our real position. We have to get rid of this mode of passion which binds us to this world. We have to realize our original spiritual identity. So that can be only done by chanting of Hare Krishna. So, when you are chanting, like Srila Prabhupada says, chant like a child's helpless cry for his mother. So we have to understand we are helpless. Mama Maya Duratyaya. This material world is practically impossible to, escape. It's completely so difficult, practically impossible to escape. So we must chant very prayerfully. We must understand that every moment our safety depends upon Lord's mercy. If that is withdrawn, we are finished. We'll be finished in an instant. So therefore, we have to be very, very careful. So we have to get rid of this conception of aham mameti. My dear king, if you still think that you are the king and that I'm your servant, you should order me and I should follow your order. I can then say that this differentiation is temporary and it expands only from the usage or convention. I do not see any other cause. In that case, who is the master and who is the servant? Everyone is being forced by the laws of material nature. Therefore, no one is master and no one is servant. So you see, no one is master, no one is servant. These are just waves. So in the ocean, there are big waves. Sometimes the boat goes up, sometimes the boat goes down. But in reality, the boat is always at an average level. The boat, it's just when it goes up, it has to come down. When it goes down, it has to come up. So we, in this material world also, we are going up and down. We are neither the master nor the servant of anybody here. We are all just jivatmas. We are floating in this ocean of Maya. Mama evaye prapadyante. Those who surrender to me. So Krishna helps those. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments? In that case, we stop here today. We continue tomorrow from text 13. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandar Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Krishna. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.